By mid-February, all of these planets will have moved into Aquarius. What does that mean for you based on your rising sign? Stick around and find out. Okay, first let's talk about Aquarius. Aquarius is represented by the star, and this energy is of your hopes and dreams, your biggest aspirations. It's also about how you represent within the whole, within the collaborative group. This is you standing out in a crowd. It's what you bring to the table. What do you have to offer that can help further humanity, further the community, and bring your resource to the discussion? So this is the energy of Aquarius, and this is the energy that we're going to be in for the next 20 years with Pluto in Aquarius. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I will put a link to my Pluto and You video, and this is where I discuss the movement of Pluto out of Capricorn and into Aquarius. So we have Pluto in Aquarius for the next 20 years. There will be an exception later this year, but pretty much for the next 20 years, Pluto is in Aquarius. But until mid-February, the sun is also there. So these two energies, they're so close together in their degrees in the sky. This is called a cazimi. Means is the planet or planets that are near the sun are really, really amplified. It's like they've been turned up to 11. Okay, Capricorn Rising. When we start out the beginning of the month, we have both the sun and Pluto already in Aquarius. So for you, that is your second house. And I'm going to move that all the way over because we have a lot of planets happening here in the second house. So your second house is your house of money. It's your house of personal resources. It's the house of how you find self-sufficiency. It's your possessions. It's also your personal worth, both monetary and emotional and intellectual worth. So now, the sun is already in your second house, and it's been there since mid-January, shining its light on your money, on your resources, really showing you what's going on in that second house of personal finance. Now, on February 4th, Mercury, or the magician, or the energy of creation and manifestation, Mercury moves into the second house, into your house of values, your house of possessions, and personal worth. Mercury moving into that house. Mercury is all about communication and messaging. Mercury is the messenger that can bring messages between both the world of the living and the world of the dead. So Mercury is an important aspect of getting information out as well as receiving information. So Mercury moving into the second house with the sun and with Pluto is enhancing this communication regarding your financial matters or your personal values. Now on the 9th of the month, the moon, or the high priestess, or the energy of intuition, of that gut instinct, just knowledge, also is in your second house. So when we have the moon and the sun together in the same house or the same sign, this is a new moon. And a new moon is the beginning of a new moon cycle, so it's a time for new starts, new plans, new projects, starting something fresh. Maybe something you've already done before, or maybe something that's completely new to you. Now in this case, the new moon is happening in Aquarius in your second house, and this is bringing that transformative energy. Pluto is transformation. It's bringing out that transformative energy that influences your personal finances, your personal values, your personal self-worth. Now on the 12th of the month, Mars, or the energy of just raw energy and aggression, Mars also moves into this Aquarius party. Mars is like a battery. It's like fuel. Mars brings energy. So Mars is energizing all of this communication and heightened awareness and personal transformation regarding your pursuits with money, with finances. This is energizing these financial pursuits, but it's bringing a progressive and an unconventional approach, and it emphasizes your innovative strategies when it comes to building self-worth, building personal power, personal possessions, building monetary worth. Because Aquarius is your second house, you may have always made money in a very unconventional way. You might not be the kind of person that has a standard 9 to 5 Monday through Friday job. You might do something completely unconventional. And all this energy in your second house is highlighting that you go about supporting yourself or finding self-sufficiency in not just an unconventional way, but also a very innovative way. There may even be some scientific or technological aspects to it. Okay, so on the 16th of the month, Venus also moves into this Aquarius party, and it's so full in this second house that I can't even fit Venus in there. So we're just going to put Venus right next door. But Venus is also in Aquarius in your second house. Now, Venus is not just values. Venus is at home in the second house. Venus rules the second house. So there is an amplification of these Venusian qualities. And that brings a period where your relationships, Venus is relationship and love, where your relationships might be impacted by your personal values, your personal self-worth, by these financial matters. So it's encouraging that you have an innovative approach to both your personal self-worth as well as how that affects your relationship or how that plays out with your partnership. Now that's a lot going on in that second house, and that's a huge preview of what you might be experiencing with Pluto in this second house for the next 20 years. You're going to have a rebirth, a regeneration of who you are in that house of finance, personal self-worth, self-sufficiency, personal possessions, as well as how much you value yourself. Now, we're going to move on a little bit to Pisces right next door in your third house. So when we start out the beginning of the month, both Saturn or the world and Neptune or the hanged man are in Pisces. Pisces is your third house. That's the house of communication, of intellect, of your thought processes, of your mind. It's the house of elementary education. And data flow in, data flow out. That's the type of energy of the third house. So when we start the month, Saturn and Neptune are both there in that third house, and those are very, very different energies. So Capricorn Rising, when Saturn, who rules Capricorn, that is your ruler, Saturn is in the third house, bringing out this, it emphasizes the need for structured communication and for practicality when it comes to learning. So this is prompting a disciplined approach to your intellectual pursuits as well as to your local connections. So the third house is also the house of local community or your neighborhood or your close at hand. Even your entire city can be your local community. Your neighbor, your county, even your state is local. So there's a heavy emphasis on your community and building that structure within your local area. So Capricorn, the Neptune energy, so then we have Neptune here, which is a very different energy, but Neptune in the third house, it's evoking this dreamy and imaginative influence on your communication, and this can potentially inspire your creative expression. But it's also introducing a need for clarity in your everyday situations. So Neptune has the tendency to make you feel like you're underwater. When you go underwater in the pool and you can hear everybody talking, you can hear things going on around you, but you can't discern it. It's just a little bit muffled and fuzzy and you don't know what's happening. That's the energy of Neptune. So with Neptune coming into your third house, and it will be there till 2025, you might have a little bit of difficulty not only getting your message across, but understanding messages from others. So it's important that you really focus your communication with very practical, strategic, and clear, or with clarity. So when you are trying to get your message across, when you're trying to communicate, especially with siblings and neighbors and people in your local community, you're able to not only be understood, but understand. Now on the 18th of the month, the sun will move out of Pisces, or out of Aquarius in your second house and into Pisces, into this third house. So the sun has now joined forces with Saturn and Neptune in your house of communication, and this heightens your focus on creative communication and imaginative expression within your daily interactions. So this is just bringing out even more of that need for clarity and that need for focused attention on your communication. Now on the 23rd of the month, Mercury, or the Magician, comes home to the third house. Mercury rules the third house. So when Mercury is in the third house, it's amplifying these energies of intellect and messaging and getting data in and data out and rudimentary education. So this Mercury moving in home into the third house, along with all these other planets, is enhancing your intuitive communication. Pisces is an intuitive sign. It's a psychic sign. So your communication, Capricorn, might have a bit of this dreamlike quality to it to begin with. It also could mean that people have a hard time understanding you. Pisces makes it so that your message can be a bit muffled. It's like your message has to come through that viscous water, like gel or honey or something like that. So this can heighten your need to be extremely clear and enunciate and articulate, literally speak clearly, so that your message can come across exactly as you want it and has fewer chances of being misunderstood. So this Mercury in your third house in Pisces can also foster a much more emotionally nuanced approach to your local connections and to your local experiences. So you might be thinking a lot more intellectually and planning and being a bit more action and creation oriented when it comes to making those local connections. Now, lastly, Capricorn, on the 24th of the month, the moon will have made its way all around to Virgo. Virgo is the opposite of Pisces. So when the moon is in opposition to the sun, we have a full moon. And a full moon is a heightening of emotion. It's the culmination of emotion. So this full moon is in your ninth house, and the ninth house is the opposite of the third house. The ninth house is higher education, it's philosophy, it's belief systems, it's the house of long distance travel or foreign relations or foreign affairs. So this full moon brings us, whenever we have full moons, it shows us where we need to find balance between two opposite areas of life, two areas that are probably pulling apart from each other and causing us a little bit of conflict or tension. So with this full moon in Virgo, it's heightening your awareness of the need for practical communication and grounded perspectives in matters that can relate to your higher learning, to your beliefs, to your philosophies, or to your ability to connect with people who are somewhat foreign to you or to a culture that you haven't experienced before. So Capricorn Rising, that's what I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't, please give me a like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.